Hello and welcome back to the Opposites Abroad podcast, your favourite, second or third favourite, but definitely one of your favourite travel podcasts. Charlie Bosco here, joined by TT down in Denver, and today we're talking about sketchy travel, scary travel. We've done episodes on nice places, I mean mainly nice places, got its neighbourhoods, like London, Berlin and Tokyo and DC, although Donald Trump seems to think that DC is Haiti these days. But
in Birmingham.
And Birmingham. Yeah, we haven't actually done an episode on Birmingham or Prince Andrew.
I've never been to Birmingham.
I think I must. I've certainly been to the train station. I feel like I must have been to the city centre, but the fact I can't remember it probably tells you a lot. But yeah, we're talking about sketchy travel today. I mean, a lot of people here in Canada and in Europe now would certainly be very reluctant to travel to the US. So you're kind of living in sketchy travel. But yeah, we wanted to talk about what it's like to do scary trips, maybe a bit of advice. We've done one on staying safe when travel, but this is more about preparing to go somewhere that might be a little bit sketchy. How do you decide to do that? How do you pick a destination?
And by scary trips, we don't mean like ghost tours.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to hate the haunted house rides. They really scared me. So it might depend on. I mean, a lot of it will be applicable to ghost rides as much as it will be to travel.
But they kind of turn you on a little too. That's what makes them fun.
Where was the fact you always used to touch my leg in the dark?
That wasn't me. That was the horny ghost.
The horny ghost. We never think of ghosts as being horny, but they must have needs like everyone else, I guess.
Well, and I've always said, like, if my house is haunted, what's a ghost look like? Like if I'm in the bath and there's like what's a ghost look like? Is it a scary ghost? Is it like beautiful ghost of who knows what? Like
could be the ghost of Pamela Anderson from the Baywatch days. I mean, who knows?
Well, she's still alive.
Yeah, I know, but Pamela's gotten the Baywatch days,
from her dead career. I bet she's having a resurgence now. So
yeah, but she lives on Vancouver Island.
Oh, does she? I actually really, we're like way off topic. I actually really respect her for growing old gracefully.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's awesome. And her last movie, Last Showgirl, was really, really good.
Yeah, when we were there recently, we drove through her hometown where she has moved back to, and it's pretty unremarkable little town in the middle of the island. So
let's get her on the podcast.
I should have gone. I bet you could find out where her house is on one of those celebrityhouse.coms or whatever it's called.
Ask Liam Neeson.
Oh, but I'll ask you. I was going to ask you about whether you've seen the new Naked Gun, but let's just. We really are getting off topic here. Sketchy travel, because you and I met in North Korea.
Correct.
Yeah, so that episode, we talked through North Korea on one of our early episodes.
Yeah, everyone should check it out. I mean, that's I'd say most people in the world would consider that maybe the sketchiest place in the world. And it is from a government standpoint, maybe not from getting mugged on the street standpoint.
I'd say it's the least sketchy place in the world when it comes to getting mugged on the street. But the most sketchy from the government. But then, ironically, it's actually the rates of things going wrong there is pretty low. I think you could definitely go to places where the chances of you coming unstuck would be far higher.
Yeah, I mean, for something really bad to happen if you're a tourist in North Korea, it'd either be some horrible timing that something happens. Most likely you're an idiot.
Yeah, or someone in your group is an idiot.
And that place I made sure I had my own room and paid extra for it because I didn't want to have some idiot in my room like trying to hide a Bible in it or something, or tear some poster off the wall or something. And even when we were drinking at night, which was fun because the beer was really good and cheap, as soon as everyone started getting really rowdy, I went up to my room. I get beer to go, and I carry it up to the room and drink it because I was like, I'm not going to be here when someone says something insane or does something insane. Yeah,
and I actually got a single room on that trip as well, but you obviously thought about it a lot more than me. I just hate sharing with people, so that was my reason. But with hindsight, it was also safer because you for those who haven't been or don't know much about North Korea, do not take a Bible. They're not big on Christianity, which To be honest, the North Korean regime is not great, but if there was anything in the pro column, not being big into Christianity. I mean, maybe me and Kim Jong Il agree on one thing.
Yeah, yes, I think if there's one thing communism got right, it was probably the opiate of the people being religion. And North Korea is the only place that I've ever been where I actually like really looked through the hotel room to see if there was any cameras in it.
Yeah, I did, and I felt, yeah, really uncomfortable thinking about it. Did you find any trace of it?
No, but I really did look. I mean, I looked over as super carefully to see if there was any microphones or cameras in it. But you're probably more likely to get spied on in some creepy Airbnb in the U.S. But yeah, it's a scary place from that aspect because you just hear so much stuff. And I remember the first night after I went back early, and I went out. I can't. Do we have a little balcony or just a window? I can't remember.
No, I think it was just a window. Just
a window. But I remember standing there looking out at the city, which is all dark except for the statues lit up and stuff. And I was. It's like, this is the most weirdest place in the world to be. That nobody even really knows I'm here, and that's a very strange feeling.
Yeah, and it really, the first point we made, people listening to this are going, "Oh my God, these guys make notes." We do sometimes. And loosely, the first point I put actually was control the controllables. So if you're thinking about doing sketchy travel, and we'll look at it from a few angles. There's sketchy travel as in going to places like North Korea or Afghanistan or Haiti or El Salvador or anywhere like that. El Salvador sounds like it's a hell of a lot safer than it used to be, albeit...
Yes, it is, I think,
they've lost a bit of freedom in return for that. But anyway, when you think about going to sketchy places, and then also lean a little bit on my experience of doing mountain trips, because there's risk, and so it's slightly different, I guess, from adventurous travel, but it's a lot of the lessons are the same. A lot of the mental approach is the same, whether you're going somewhere sketchy in the mountains or going somewhere sketchy culturally. So, but the first thing we put was control the controllables, and I think your point about getting a single room because you don't want some douchebag trying to hide a Bible, or you just don't want to be involved with someone else getting you in trouble, is a good example of that. Before you go on a trip, the unknown is a huge appeal, and the definition of adventure is outcome is unknown. But do what you can before you leave to minimize your risk and minimize the chance of something stupid going wrong.
Well, and I think the sketchier the place is, like, you're going to Haiti or somewhere that maybe is in Africa that's not super stable. I would recommend you get the nicest hotel you can afford.
Yeah, and I'm all into adventurous travel, but you want, if at all possible, you want to come home to an oasis of safety at night.
To an oasis, you also come to a place where there's going to be people that will be able to help you. They might have like connections with the military or the government. There'll be concierge, most likely, that speaks English. I don't want to go, and Airbnbs have their purpose, but I don't want to be someplace where I don't feel like is super safe, and I go to some Airbnb and something happens and there's nothing for me to be able to do or talk to. I want to be able to go down the front desk and be like, what is going on? And they'll say, well, okay, we're working on this, or we're going to help get you to whatever, or we'll bring up food or bottled water, whatever you need. And another thing too is if I'm someplace like that, I will like to have someone waiting at the airport with a sign with my name on it. Like, I don't want to get someplace that's sketchy and have to find a bus or try to whatever it is. I don't want to deal with it. I don't know if I'm in England or I'm in Paris. I don't need someone holding a sign. Like, I can figure it out and it's going to be fine. I'm some other places, I want someone with a sign.
Yeah, 100%. And I think adventurous travel is great, but when you hear people say things like, I want to experience local life or whatever, if you go to El Salvador or Haiti or North Korea and try and experience local life, it will be utterly miserable. you kind of have to accept that you are going in a very privileged, comfortable way of going, which is you're staying in a really nice hotel, which is probably pretty safe. I've stayed in hotels that have pretty beefy security, armed guards on the gate, that kind of thing. And honestly, I would just recommend that. Getting involved with staying in some crap neighborhood of Sao Paulo and staying in a favela, I mean,
there's something
it's like taking your life into your hands for that tiny bit more of an experience.
There's something gross about how do I even word this? Romanticizing poverty.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's kind of like that Pulp song, "Common People," which is about people who think poor is cool. And there's a line in there when he's like, "You can call your dad and he'll stop it all." And someone who comes from something and they're slumming it someplace, pretending to be poor because they think that it's making them closer to the locals who don't want to be in that situation in the first place. It's just kind of gross to me. Now, if you're like in the Peace Corps, you're doing charitable work, you're there with your church organization or something, you're actually doing good. That's one thing. But I know for a fact that if you go to like Thailand and you're wearing baggy elephant pants and you're trying to hang out with the locals, like, they will take your money and they will be nice to you, and the second you turn around they will be laughing at you, that they just think you're an idiot because they don't want to do any of that stuff. Yeah
100%. Living like a local is, to me, is something you do in the Western world. By all means, in Paris, get a random Airbnb in a random arrondissement, or in London, just pick a interesting looking neighborhood, get an Airbnb, like, go for it. But I think if you're going somewhere sketchy, stay somewhere half decent. Have a level of security that if you get back to that hotel, you're behind a fence, you're behind an armed guard. Maybe it's lame and you're getting privileges that the locals don't get, but I want to come home alive, and I would rather keep coming home alive than take huge risks. So
yeah, and I'll take some risks. I think I just try to be smart. I know there's some people and they love going to like war-torn stuff, and there's people who've made whole YouTube careers of like, I'm in this terrible place, but again, I just feel like that stuff's like,
it's slightly voyeuristic.
It's almost like poverty porn. Like I'm gonna get off watching how poor people are, and oh my God, can you believe they're in the slum in India, and can you believe in this stuff, but they're not doing it in a way to help them. It's almost like a way to like lord it over them, or just take advantage of their misery. And I feel like it's really sad. Like you want to do that stuff, then go do some charitable work.
I think it's kind of reflected toughness. It makes you look tougher because you hung out with someone who has it tough. I don't know.
Well, and when you're watching YouTube video and you see some guy and he's like, I'm in the most dangerous neighborhood in Brazil and I'm walking around, you don't know what he's got behind the camera. He could have hired a freaking army following him around so it looks like he's in all this danger, and he's trekking it through these really dangerous spots. But he's got a bunch of armed people behind him that you just don't see. So I always take that stuff with a grain of salt.
Yeah, me too. I think if you go through the sketchiest neighborhood in Brazil with a big camera, an expensive camera on an expensive stabilizer with a big microphone on top, I'm very skeptical that you would genuinely get out the far side.
Yeah, that you're going to have that camera on the other end.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, control the controllables. And then in terms of planning, I think the big thing I always say is be realistic. I feel like in my mountain sports career, I hit my psychological limit. Physically, I probably could have done more, but I just got to a stage where mentally I just thought, that's as far as I want to go, and maybe it's lame, and maybe someone else wants to go further, and that's fine. Do the same with travel. Just figure out what is right for you. Just because me and you went to North Korea doesn't mean someone else has to go to North Korea. There are tons of places I wouldn't go. I'd go back to North Korea 100 times ahead of some places.
Like where?
Haiti, where you went.
Yeah.
That would especially now. It seems like it's got worse. That would scare the crap out of me. There's the anarchy of it. Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan specifically, those kind of places where it's just anarchy
Yeah.
Give me North Korea any day. Not to live in. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about living, but to visit, I feel, yeah. So North Korea is my limit. I'm not going to Haiti. I'm not going to Somalia.
And I have been to Haiti, and it was horrible when I was there. There are some places in the world that I would love to go to that have fascinating histories, but they're just too terrible. Congo, I would love to go to Congo,
Yeah.
where Heart of Darkness was written. It's just a fascinating history.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, Yemen.
Yeah.
Some of those places have amazing old sites, but it's just a lot of this stuff is timing too. I've been to Ukraine. I've been to Russia. Those are not places you would go right now. You go to places when they are safe, and then when they become unsafe, you don't go there again. And then when they become safe again, you go there. Then you time things when things are okay.
Yeah.
I went to Guayaquil in Ecuador a couple years ago, and it was just fine. Now it's terrible. The gangs have kind of taken over. There's no way I would go there now. But I took my son there for like spring break, and we hung out, and it was just fine. But I think you have to be careful too with so much of the media and even stuff that's put on by different governments on their websites is so doom and gloom and so terrible. Like if I tell my mom I'm going on a cruise, the first thing she'll say is, "Oh, you're going to get sick." Oh, everyone gets sick on cruises because that's what the media always talks about. And I'm like, Mom, there's like 5 million cruise ships a year or something, and like a few hundred people get sick. Like, what's the chance of that? No, that I've heard about it. So some places it's like you keep hearing. When I went to Buenos Aires last year, I kept hearing how incredibly dangerous it was. And when I got to my hotel, I was looking out the window, and I was kind of like, I don't know that I want to go wander around. Like, I was pretty nervous when I left the hotel because I'd heard so many horror stories. And I was there a week, and it was fine. Like, I was careful. I didn't do anything super stupid. And I know there are some dangerous parts of it. But it's so easy to get caught up in the hype, and that's why people just never leave their houses, or they haven't left their zip code in 20 years because they're so scared. And I don't know, it's a big world, and most of the time things work out okay.
I agree. Yeah, I just think you have to be realistic, and you have to find your limit, and you have to find your tolerance level. I mean, similar to Buenos Aires, I went to La Paz in Bolivia. I was good walking around La Paz during the day. At night, it was a bit too sketchy for me. So I remember I ended up coming out of a restaurant on my own at night one time, and I just got a cab. And I made sure I got a proper cab that had a light on the top. And just tap out, just be realistic. I just thought, that's too sketchy for me. Wandering around La Paz in the day, I'm kind of careful. I don't look like a target. I'm alert. I don't wear an expensive watch. I look switched. Yeah, I'm looking around. I'm conscious of which neighborhood I'm in. And then at night, I just thought that's too much for me. So I don't deal with it. So yeah, just be realistic. When you're picking your sketchy travel destination, just be realistic about what is acceptable for you. And that might be a completely different answer to someone else.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, and I've talked about that. I don't go out at night, generally traveling. I mean, I would, maybe if I'm in London, I'll go to a pub or something. But if I'm in South America or Central America, I'm not going to go wander around at night or go to some bar and try to wander back to my hotel and get robbed or beat up. Like it's just not worth it to me.
No. I think I made a note in our things. Don't try to be Rory Stewart. So people might know Rory Stewart, who now hosts, I think, the most popular podcast in Britain. The Rest is Politics, and they've got another one called The Rest is History, maybe. Anyway, it's him and Alistair Campbell, who was Tony Blair's right-hand man and communications manager, do a fantastic current affairs and politics podcast. But Rory Stewart, I think in 2004, 3-4, not a lot, but sort of in the first few years post-US invasion, walked across Afghanistan relying on the hospitality of the locals. So
yes, I read that book too. It's a good book. What's the book called?
It's called The Places in Between. And he walked into all these villages that were full of Taliban and faction. The kind of people you, as a white guy, you do not want to be coming across in Afghanistan. And Rory Stewart walked into their village and said to them, as Muslims, your religion says you have to give hospitality to anyone who needs it, and I need it. And he had some incredibly sketchy experiences, and even some of the special forces guys who he met when he got to Kabul were saying to him, "You must be insane," you know. And every time I've read that book 3 times, I think, and I always get a cold chill at the amount of risk he was taking. So don't be Rory Stewart. I haven't got the stones to go and do what Rory Stewart did. I'll go to North Korea, done some pretty out there stuff in the mountains, put my life on the line. I'm not Rory Stewart. So pick your level, be realistic, don't try and be the hero. And amusingly enough, I said don't try to be Rory Stewart, and then you added be Rod Stewart in the notes, which I loved. I mean, I don't really know what it's referring to. I just thought it was a great thing to write.
Well, thank you. I appreciate when my humor is appreciated.
I think it's only me, and I don't know. I couldn't speculate, but potentially some romantic partners of yours who enjoy it. But it's a small group who enjoy it.
Enjoy my humor. My humor takes a little bit to get used to. But the problem with my humor is I never know if it's going to be funny until after I say it, and I think I'm about an 80%er. So 80% of the time I think it's pretty funny, and then 20% of the time it really fails, and it's really offensive, and the problem is I don't know until I say it, and which is okay with you. It's not okay at work sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to unoffendable, and I feel like that's kind of a prerequisite for having a friendship with you.
Yeah, well, I get great pride when I say something on the podcast, and I see your face because we can see each other, and you don't know what to say for a moment. That makes me feel really good.
I feel like the last few months I've really got better at thinking of a response quickly. Yeah, I feel like I've kind of switched onto it. Before I come on the podcast, have a coffee, get myself fired up. I do a little 15 minutes in the gym to get ready. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, talk to yourself in the mirror.
Exactly.
I'm really good at this.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever TT says, I've got to come back. Yeah. And speaking of which, God, you'd almost think we rehearsed this. The other thing, the next tip I had was to deal with one issue at a time and try to stay present. And that's probably more relevant to, say, a mountaineering trip where you're dealing with multiple things going on at one time. I suppose when you're traveling just in a city, that's kind of less relevant. If you get in a sketchy neighborhood, you got to get out of there.
Yeah.
You're not. But that was more the battle I've had sometimes doing sketchy stuff where you've got so many factors going on in your head. Oh, there's a storm coming tomorrow, and in the morning when it's supposed to be super hot, we've got to cross that steep slope, and if it is as hot, then we could get avalanched, and then in the meantime we thought there'd be snow here, and actually it's just rock, and we've got to rappel. And it's actually, you just have to say, right, what's the thing in front of us? Does that affect, what decision have we got to make now? And if the decision you've got to make now is simple, then you make it and you move on. Or if it's complex, you talk about it. But don't get too carried away with what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just like most people, I feel like I do get anxiety and things stress me out. And one of the ways I'd limit that is by doing the same thing, breaking things down. So let's say I've got a really complicated trip, and I'm kind of I'm excited to get there, but I've got horrible flights, and and I've got to deal with this and this and this. I will break it down in my mind and say, okay, I'm going to get to the airport, and then I'm going to go to the lounge, and then I'll get on the plane, and then after that I'll go through immigration, and then I'll maybe go through to another lounge, and I just kind of chunk it like that, so it doesn't seem like this insurmountable, horrible long trip where I'm not going to get a lot of sleep, and I'll break it down. Okay, I will take a little nap on this flight, or when I get there I'm going to do this, and then I think part of it too is kind of like you said with mountaineering, is have plans, but then have kind of plans on plans. So it's tomorrow I'm gonna go to a museum, but if something happens to that museum, instead I'm gonna go to whatever, and then you get there and it's closed for no reason, or whatever happens, and then you've got something else to do, and you're not just sitting there feeling like your whole day was wasted. And I think that really helps me.
Yeah, I think so. And it was actually an athlete. I had an interview with a famous rugby player, And he said when you start a training session, if you look at the board and it's got, I don't know, you got to do 5 deadlifts followed by a sprint 10 times, and then you're going to move to the next station and you're going to push a sled, and then in between the sleds you're going to do push-ups or whatever. He said if you think about the whole session, it's brutal. It's just so much to get through.
Yeah.
And I do this when I'm working out now. I go to a circuit training or whatever, write my workout on the board, and often they can be going up in intensity, or they start at the highest intensity and come down, or whatever. Yeah. They peak in the middle. You can have all different types of workout. And I just think, right, just focus on this set. Have good pose. Just good form. That's the word I was thinking. Have good form. Get through this set. Okay, you got 30 seconds rest. Think about the rest. Don't just kind of look at your phone or mess around. Just, you've got 30 seconds to recover, so focus on your breathing. Sip a bit of water, but not so much that you then feel sick. Just deal with one thing at a time. And I think travel can be just like that. I think, I remember the longest flight, longest journey I ever had was 38 hours. It's a long story. Back from Japan, I knew it was going to be 38 hours. And I was so down about it the second I got on the first plane. And I wish I could go back with a bit more maturity now and just go, all right, first thing, let's find some dinner in this crap airport in Western China.
Yeah.
Let's find something edible. Okay, first plane. All right. Let's find a good movie to watch. When I get to the next place, I'm going to get on the Wi-Fi. I'm going to Google a good movie to watch because I'll have seen the Air China selection and I'll take a picture of it. And instead I got on the plane and thought, oh my God, 38 hours to go. And I was already bitching and moaning. So and it just takes me back. We don't have to always talk about mountain sports, but I did a trip last year. We were out for 10 days, got helicoptered in, and we traversed out to the highway 10 days later. And I saw a friend of mine who I did it with earlier this year, and I said to him, man, that was you were reflecting on the little trip a bit. And he went, I found that trip really hard mentally, and I kind of kept that to myself because I didn't want to throw you off. And I said, I was having the same thing because I was always thinking, what does this mean for tomorrow? I know that 3 days from now we have to cross that slope. And the wind's been blowing from the north, and that means the snow is going to be this. And it was so hard, and I didn't manage it at all. I just did not manage. I was always living 2 days ahead, 3 days ahead.
Yeah.
I never really figure out how to not do that. But so if anyone has any tips, please comment below. But it is bloody hard to stay in the present and deal with one problem at a time.
It is very hard to be in the present, and kind of back to what you're talking about before, like, if I'm going to do a really long flight on, let's say I'm going to do it on Air China, and I'm dreading it and it's terrible, I will Google what movies are playing on Air China right now before I go, and then I will find movies that I really want to watch that maybe I missed in the theater, or an old movie that I haven't seen in a long time, and I'll make a list in my phone. And then actually gives me something to be excited about, because I'll be like, oh, I really wanted to see whatever movie, and as soon as I get in, I will hit it. Or you can download stuff on your phone too, if that makes people happier. But I try to do that as an emergency, because sometimes you'll get on a plane and there's nowhere to charge your phone. Unless you have a portable charger with you, then it's better to watch it on the screen and not have to deal with it.
Yeah, and take cable headphones, so as soon as you get on the plane, you can start watching your movie.
Yes.
You don't have to wait until you've taken off and reached cruising altitude, and then they come around with the headphones. So
yeah. I have wireless headphones, but I always have a wire with me too, so I can plug it into something if I need to. Again, does it lead seamlessly? I was going to say it leads seamlessly. I was maybe flattering us slightly, but the other thing I wanted to say was practice the skills. Don't go in at the deep end. We did a podcast about staying safe while traveling, and I think that's probably worth going back and listening to if you're interested in this topic. But if your travel has been North America, Western Europe, and Japan, and Australia, that's quite a lot of travel, but you have no idea how to not die in La Paz or Haiti or El Salvador. Just don't go in at the deep end. Practice slowly. Go somewhere that's a little bit sketchy,
somewhere like Morocco, I would say. Which I wouldn't say Morocco's sketchy, but it's different. You're an outsider. They have the call to prayer. It's overtly Islamic.
Yeah.
It's different.
Or places that are that with like South Africa.
Yeah.
Like, and especially if you're a female traveler, like some of those places, I mean, they call Cape Town Rape Town for a reason.
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty bad, and it's getting worse. Eh?
Yeah, like it's don't rest on your laurels. You know, when I got robbed from my phone when I was in Ethiopia, I got to the point, I think because I'm so heavily tattooed, that I felt like nobody really messes with me.
Yeah.
You know, people just leave me alone, and I just started thinking, whatever. And then what I didn't take into account is they really don't have a lot of money, and I just look like a big walking dollar sign because I have a nice phone, and their need for survival in their country outweighs their fear of my tattoos.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I'm robbed, and then I was like, oh my God, why was I so stupid? Why didn't I, why did I have my why wasn't I better prepared for that? Why was I just wandering around in Africa with my phone in my pocket? And I was like, this is stupid. And sometimes you just have to step back and say, you know what, I need to practice, the skills slowly, or I need to just not be stupid and not take unnecessary risk.
Yeah, I mean, the fact they've got a machete means they're going to win in a fight, even if you've got loads of tats. And that's why I always slightly laugh when I see gym rats. Kind of Kelowna, where I live, if you go down the waterfront on a Saturday night, there's a lot of steroid-filled gym rats, and I just think that's great. I'm sure you're super tough and everything, but someone shoots you in the head, you die, same as anyone else, same as the weediest person in the world. So far better situation. It's far better not to find yourself in this situation.
Yeah,
than
and
to
I would
count
say
on being tough.
I would say if you're a big gym rat, I mean, I would say you probably can't fight anyways, and you're not going to be fast. You're not going to be able to chase someone down after they rob you. What scares me is guys that don't look that big that have cauliflower ears.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot of people that look like Tarzan and fight like Jane in the average gym.
That's very true.
Yeah, so just don't count on being able to battle your way out of something. Just don't get involved in the first place. And part of that is just build your confidence slowly. As I say, I'm not sitting here saying I can go anywhere and be safe. I'll tap out on certain destinations that we've already listed. So just once you've figured out what's good for you, just build up to it.
Well, remember a couple years ago, we were talking about going to Pakistan,
which is still on the table.
And that actually kind of Pakistan makes me a little nervous. Like I think we'd be okay, but there's some problems there.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you the full story of that as well. I think I might completely put you off once I give you the full briefing on what I wanted to do. But yeah, Pakistan's a good example.
But at least I read a giant, unbelievably boring book on the history of Pakistan to prepare for that trip we didn't go on.
Which one was that again?
Pakistan, a history? I don't know what it was called. All it was is about how all the tribes hate each other for like 1,000 pages.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, Pakistan's barely a country in some ways. I mean, it's kind of amalgamation of... Anyway, we won't go there. But maybe we will go there, but just give me a bit of time to figure it out. I actually wanted to do a podcast there. There's a podcast series I wanted to produce about something that happened in Pakistan.
Yeah, I think it'd be... I would end up going, but that would give me some trepidation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to go to a few of the less well-travelled neighbourhoods, but a good friend of mine's been to the Swat Valley a couple of times and loved it and said they're the best people in the world. And I've heard everyone who goes to Pakistan said the people are the most wonderful people on the planet. You hear the same in Iran. So,
yeah, Iran for sure. They're supposed to be the nicest people in the world. Yeah, I would actually really like to go to Iran. That's
very high on my list. Yeah,
but it's just really hard to get into with visa stuff, and that their government is just a mess.
Yeah, that might be one where the timing is not right now.
Yeah,
give it a bit of time. And the final point I wanted to make was a Churchill quote: "Endure what can't be mended." So often you find yourself when you go on sketchy, scary trips, and this is particularly true of mountain trips, but it's also true in cities. Sometimes you just are where you are, and you've got to do what you've got to do, and it sucks. And the best preparation in the world, and the most avid, experienced, smart travel in the world, sometimes just ends up in a situation that totally sucks. And
yes,
you just got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you get robbed, you can get super sick, you can get in a car accident, or run over walking across the street, bitten by stray dogs. You know, like, there's so many horrible things that can happen. And I would have at least some understanding of what, you know, your abilities to get out of the country, or you've got, you know, a credit card that has emergency insurance on it, or for to get you out if something happens.
Yeah, but every now and then you just got to suck it up and go, hey, I put myself in this situation.
Yeah, yes.
I got to deal with it. But I feel like as you get older, maybe you get less brave, so you're in those situations less and less, but maybe you get a bit smarter. Maybe a combination of the two.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it before. I mean, some with age, like, what you'll do in your 20s is probably way different than you'll do in your 70s.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you get in a situation in your 20s, you can pretty much fight your way out of stuff or run away from stuff. You're elderly, you can fall and really hurt yourself. Like, you're just more of a target. I think that's why you see older couples cruising more and going on, you know, safer type things, and I think that's okay. I think I'll do that too.
Yeah, I think I'll do that too. The one big advantage of sketchy places is they're usually really cheap.
That is true. Yeah,
so
that is true.
If you've got a few bucks, you think, do I really want to subject myself to figuring out my way through Equatorial Guinea and Nigeria, or do I just want to go on a nice cruise 100 miles offshore?
Yeah, exactly, and basically ring a bell and someone brings you a glass of champagne, and like that actually sounds pretty nice in a lot of ways.
Yeah, speaking of which, I got a cold one waiting for me.
A cold champagne?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, got a couple of people coming around, and could be champagne.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, certainly a gin and tonic.
Yeah, that's good too. I'm drinking, I can't even pronounce this, chamomile, is that how you say it?
Chamomile is the French pronunciation, yeah.
For tea, yeah. So, not my party day.
Rock and roll, buddy.